You know that sound? The alarm goes off, you roll over, you smack it to be quiet, and then, what's the very first thing you do? If you're anything like me, or, well, most people, it's this automatic reflex to grab the one little device that connects us to everything.
And hey, you're definitely not alone in this, not by a long shot. The data shows a massive 80% of us check our phones within the first 15 minutes of waking up. It's basically become a universal morning ritual.
But have you ever actually stopped to wonder, what is this seemingly harmless habit really doing to our brains, especially in those first few supercritical moments of the day? Well, the science is pretty clear, and to be honest, it's a little bit scary.
Okay, let's get into it. To really understand the impact here, we first have to look at how your brain is supposed to wake up, which is actually a surprisingly delicate process. So your brain doesn't just flick on like a light switch. It's designed to gently move through different brainwave states. You're supposed to kind of glide from that deep delta sleep through the creative, almost dreaming theta state, and then into this calm, relaxed but awake alpha state. This gradual transition is absolutely crucial for setting a good foundation for your day.
But here's the thing. Your phone comes in and hijacks that entire process. That instant flood of notifications, emails, news headlines, it forces your brain to completely skip those important restorative phases. You make this jarring leap straight into high alert beta waves. It's like shocking your system from 0 to 100, priming your brain for pure distraction before you've even had a chance to properly wake up.
And at the same time this is happening, your body has its own natural wake-up call. It's called the cortisol awakening response, or CAR. And it's a totally healthy, normal spike in the stress hormone cortisol that's meant to get your body ready for the day ahead.
So how does your brain interpret your phone in this really vulnerable waking state? Well, according to researchers at Stanford Lifestyle Medicine, your brain sees that screen right up in your face as a threat. They put it this way: on a physiological level, it's the exact same thing as waking up and finding a bear in your room. That triggers a really primitive fight-or-flight response, sending that cortisol system into total overdrive.
So this double whammy, the brainwave disruption and the hormonal overload, it's not just some fleeting morning problem. It creates these hidden costs that actually ripple out across your entire day, hitting your focus, your mood, and your productivity.
What this does is it causes this massive shift in your entire mindset. So instead of starting your day proactively, setting your own goals, you're immediately thrown into a reactive mode. Your own agenda gets tossed out the window, and it's replaced by the demands and the anxieties of other people. You're basically playing defense from the second you open your eyes.
When you bombard your brain with all this information while it's still in that groggy state of sleep inertia, it leads to something researchers call cognitive failures. And that's just a fancy term for those everyday mistakes. Forgetting things, not being able to concentrate, just that feeling of mental exhaustion. All because your brain's resources were drained before the day even really got going.
And this is the really critical part. This goes way beyond just feeling a bit frazzled. Look at the long-term damage we're talking about here. It's not just about your hormones getting out of whack, leading to chronic stress. We're talking about actual physical changes to the structure of your brain. Studies are now linking this one habit to reduced gray matter and even a thinning of the cerebral cortex. That can mess with your ability to make decisions and control your impulses for years to come.
So if it's so bad for us, why do we keep doing it? Well, it all comes down to the brain's reward chemical, dopamine. Your phone is basically a slot machine. The unpredictable rewards, a new like here, an interesting email there. They give you a little hit of dopamine, and that trains your brain to keep coming back for more, creating this powerful, addictive loop. Okay, I know that was a lot of pretty heavy science, but here's the good news, the really good news. You are in complete control of this. Reclaiming that first hour of your day isn't just possible, it's actually surprisingly simple to do. It all starts with 3 really simple swaps. First, get a cheap, old-school alarm clock. This one move alone gets the phone out of your bedroom, which is a total game changer. Second, the moment you get out of bed, drink a big glass of water. It helps rehydrate you and gets you alert. And third, get some sunlight on your face. Even just a few minutes helps set your body's internal clock for the day.
And from there, you can figure out what works for you. Instead of scrolling, you could do a few stretches, write in a journal for a couple minutes, meditate, or just, enjoy a cup of coffee without any distractions. Every single one of these things replaces that negative habit with a positive one that actually feeds your brain.
And it's really important to remember this isn't about some punishing digital detox. That stuff can sometimes backfire and just make you more anxious. The real goal is digital nutrition. Just being more mindful and intentional about how, and especially when, you're using technology.
So when it all comes down to it, it really is a choice. That first hour of the day is your most critical window to set the entire tone for everything that follows. And that's a resource that's absolutely worth protecting.
I really love this quote. Energy flows where attention goes. When you give your attention to your phone first thing in the morning, you're sending your most valuable energy out into the world. But when you give that attention to yourself first, you get to keep that energy.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last question. Now that you know exactly what's going on inside your brain every time you reach for that phone, how are you going to choose to spend your first hour tomorrow?